Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new revision session for NET. I really hope you guys are benefited from the sessions. That's our motto, really, so that you all can pass NET with flying marks, right? So, without further ado, let's get started with our session today. Let me start by sharing my screen. Right. So, yes, I welcome you all again to Vallath December NET revision session 5. If you are new to our channel, please do subscribe and hit the bell icon for all notifications from our channel. Let's move on to our first question today. A View from the Bridge. It's a play by American playwright Arthur Miller. It was first staged in Dash as a one-act verse drama. Tell me in which year was it staged for the first time? 1960, 1955, 1950, or 1945? Tell me the year. Yes, it was first staged in 1955. In 1955. Okay, this play was very successful and back in the era. And the setting of the play is 1950s America, in an Italian-American neighborhood near the Brooklyn Bridge in New York. That's the setting of this play, and it employs a chorus and narrator in the character of Alfieri. Eddie, the tragic protagonist, has an improper love for and almost an obsession with Catherine, his wife Beatrice's orphaned niece, so he does not approve of her courtship of Beatrice's cousin Rodolfo. And Miller's interest in writing about the world of the New York docks originated with an unproduced screenplay that he developed with Elia Kazan. So, A View from the Bridge, it's a very important play, and it was staged for the first time in 1955. Okay. Who among the following was the poet laureate of US from 2003 to 2004? Simon Armitage, Carol Ann Duffy, Louisa Gluck, or Elizabeth Bishop, who was the poet laureate of US from 2003 to 4. It was Louisa Gluck. Louisa Gluck was an American poet and essayist. She won the 2020 Nobel Prize in Literature, whose judges praised her unmistakable poetic voice that with austere beauty makes individual existence universal. Her other awards include the Pulitzer Prize, National Humanities Medal, National Book Award, and many other prizes. And from 2003 to 4, she was Poet Laureate of the United States. So do look up the list of poet laureates, okay? Next, Firebird. It's a very important novel which talks about a man's search for the elusive concept of permanence. It's a novel by whom? Perumal Murugan, Meena Kandasamy, Bama, or Urmila Pawar? Who wrote Firebird? Tell me who wrote this novel? Yes, it's a novel by Perumal Murugan. Okay? Firebird. It's a very important work. It's a masterfully crafted tale of one man's search for the elusive concept of permanence. Muthu has his world turned upside down when his father divides the family land, leaving him with practically nothing and causing irreparable damage to his family's bonds. Through the unscrupulous actions of his eldest brother, Muthu is forced to leave his once perfect world behind and seek out a new life for himself, his wife, and his children. In this transcendental novel, Perumal Murugan draws from his own life experiences of displacement and movement and explores the fragility of our fundamental attraction to permanence and our ultimately futile efforts to attain it. Translated from the nearly untranslatable Alanda Pachi, which alludes to a mystical bird in Tamil, the titular firebird perfectly encapsulates the illusory and migratory nature of this pursuit. It's a thought-provoking and beautifully written exploration of the human desire for stability in an ever-changing world. A very, very important novel, Firebird by Perumal Murugan. Perumal Murugan is a very important Indian writer, and as you all know, Indian writers are very important for net. So please look up all the novels of Perumal Murugan in the chronological order. Okay, very important. War and Peace. As you know, it's a novel by Leo Tolstoy set during the Napoleonic Wars. That work comprises both a fictional narrative and chapters in which Tolstoy discusses history and philosophy. This novel was published in which year? 1865, 1867, 1870, or 1877? Yes, it was published in 1867. 1867. Okay. An early version of this book was published serially in 1865, but this novel came out in the book form in 1867. It is regarded with Anna Karenina as Tolstoy's finest literary achievement, and it remains an internationally praised classic of world literature. This book chronicles the French invasion of Russia and its aftermath during the Napoleonic era. It uses 5 interlocking narratives of following different Russian aristocratic families to illustrate Napoleon's impact on Tsarist society. Portions of an earlier version titled The Year were serialized in the Russian Messenger. So please do look up all the works of Tolstoy, Dostoevsky in the chronological manner, because they will ask you the chronology, all right? So please prepare well. Next. So here with me has joined a very special member of our team, Vallath, and also an old friend of mine, that is Roy Matthew. Hi, Roy. Okay. So, Roy, would you like to read the next question?
Sure, sure.
Okay.
Which movie among the following is based on the play Twelfth Night? Now, remember the subtitle of the play is Twelfth Night or What You Will. The options are Barahat, She is the Man, Dil Dia Dadlia, and La Llorona. So, from the options, just reading the options, does any of the titles have any similarity to Twelfth Night? You can just think, those who are familiar with Hindi, let's say.
Yes. And here the answer is She is the Man. It's a very popular Hollywood movie which came out in the year 2006, if I'm not wrong. And it roughly parallels the play Twelfth Night. It doesn't have a very close resemblance to the play, but it roughly parallels the play Twelfth Night. Okay. And you can say that it's a screen adaptation of this play. So do look up, all the movies which have been written, or sorry, not written, which have been made based on the Shakespearean plays. They can be important because this time also in net, they asked about the screen adaptation of the Comedy of Errors. So be very careful about the movies which have been made based on various novels and plays. Okay.
If you want, you can find out which play the movie Haider is based on, starring Shahid Kapoor. Find out and tell us in the comments.
Yes. Roy, will you read?
Yeah, sure. Poirot, Hercule Poirot, the one with the mysterious mustache, first appeared in Dash, published in 1920. Said the murder of Roger Ackroyd, The Orient Express, The Mysterious Affair at Styles, or Death on the Nile. Now remember, Murder of Roger Ackroyd is famous for another thing. It broke the conventions of, let's say, the detective story by how it broke the conventions actually, it by introducing the villain beforehand, So that's important. So which is the answer?
Yes. So here the answer is The Mysterious Affair at Styles. It was the first detective novel by Agatha Christie, introducing her fictional detective, Hercule Poirot. It was written in the middle of the First World War in 1916 and first published in 1920 in the US and 1921 in UK. So it's a very popular writer. Her very popular character, that is Poirot, and all these novels are very important. And as you know, that you should try to remember these works in a chronological manner, because these days net will ask you tons and tons of chronology. And this time also they asked chronology itself, right, from Agatha Christie. So please look up the chronology as well.
In addition, if you can remember this also. The first detective story in English would be Murder in the Rue Morgue by Edgar Allan Poe, and it's a notable story because the villain is actually an orangutan, not a human.
Yes. Yeah.
Surfacing is a novel by Canadian author Margaret Atwood, published by Maclellan and Stewart in the year Dash. It was her second novel. Surfacing has been described by commentators as a companion novel to Atwood's collection of poems, Power Politics, which was written the previous year and deals with complementary issues. Is it 1970, 1972, 1975, or 1979? If you can remember the publication date of the first novel or Power Politics, you can deduce the answer from that date.
So, Margaret Atwood, a very important writer for any exam, be it NET, SET, or any PSC exams or any other exam you will be appearing for. So, Surfacing was published in the year 1972. And this book deals with many important issues like notions of national and gendered identity, anticipated rising concerns about conservation and preservation, and the emergence of Canadian nationalism. And this novel was also adapted into a movie in 1981. Please also try to remember the chronology of the works of Margaret Atwood. The Edible Woman was the debut novel of Atwood, and it was her second novel actually, Surfacing. So please remember the perfect chronology. All right. Dear Life is a short story collection by whom? Is it O. Henry, Alice Munro, Edgar Allan Poe, or Gerald Fremlin? Someone here is very famous for the short stories he or she has written. So you can guess very wisely.
If you can also remember the pseudonym of O. Henry, sorry, the real name of O. Henry, which would be 3 words, William Sidney Porter.
Yes. So Dear Life is a short story collection by Alice Munro. And it was published in 2012. And the book was a very popular one when it was first published. And most of the stories in this collection had previously been published elsewhere, like Corey, Dear Life, Gravel, Living Maverly, and etc. So please do look up all the short stories and short story collections of Alice Munro. Okay, next.
Srikanta, also spelled Srikanto, is a Bengali novel written by Dash. The novel takes its title after the name of its protagonist, Srikanta, who lives the life of a wanderer. Is it Bankim Chandra Chatterjee, Sarat Chandra Chattopadhyay, Rabindranath Tagore, or Michael Madhusudan Dutt? Remember, the figure of the wanderer is especially important in post-colonial literature because the wanderer or the fakir was a figure that caused the British a great deal of anxiety. They could not include them in the census. They did not know what these people were up to, who they were, whether they had, whether they could be classified, identified, or added to any comprehensible list, what they did for a living, etc. So, which novel would this be?
So Shrikanto, it's a very, very popular work by Sharath Chandra Chattopadhyay. Okay, very popular work by Sharath Chandra Chattopadhyay. And this novel is set in sometime between late 19th century to early 20th century. And this story occurs in different regions of British India, like Bhagalpur, Patna, Rangoon, Birbhum, and many other places as well. And here the protagonist is this young boy, Shrikanto, a boy who goes through many adventures through this story, and also many adventures in love life. And it shows how he matures in the process, like a coming of age story where we see a young boy maturing through his life experiences.
What
It's
do we
that
call a
type of
coming of
thing.
stage story? There's a one word for it. Can you say in the comment box? It is Bildungsroman.
Yes. Okay, let's move on to the next question.
Chotu, A Tale of Partition and Love is a graphic novel by, is it Arijit Sen, Varun Gupta and Ayushi Rastogi, Amrita Patil and Malik Sajad, or is it none of these? Now, do you know, partition literature has been called the real museum of partition by noted academic Abhishek Parvi. He said that even though there is an actual partition museum in Lahore, it's partition literature that serves as the real museum of the actual experiences, the lived memories, the experiences that went on during the greater political movement. And that is why much of partition literature does not focus on the politics of the movement or the larger scale locomotion itself, but on the grounded realities of the partition. So which one is this one? Is the question.
So it's a graphic novel by Varud Gupta and Ayushi Rastogi. It is also a reminder for you all to look up the famous graphic novelists and their novels. Okay, the graphic novelists and graphic novels are very important now. It's a very important genre in itself. So be very careful about the famous graphic novelists now. So Chotu, A Tale of Partition, it's a very popular one now. So here we see that in this graphic novel, as usual, the year is 1947. The year is the year of partition. And we see that the British are slowly marking the departure from the country. And while partition looms large over India, Chotu, a student come parathe cook in the dusty gullies of Chandni Chowk, has other things on his mind, like feeling the first flushes of love of his crush here, the new girl at school. But when he finally decides to make a move, Chotu soon finds the town's aloo has suddenly gone missing. There is no potato anywhere. So reluctantly, he embroils himself into a world of corruption, crime, and duns. As he struggles to understand what freedom truly means, Chotu realizes one thing is for certain, that in this world and the world of those around him is about to change forever, because partition is imminent. The flashes of violence can already be felt. So, set against the backdrop of partition and the horrors that followed, Chotu is a coming of age story of an unlikely hero and a parable of a past that doesn't feel too removed from the present, because violence is not a very new thing to us. From time immemorial, we know what violence is. It's like a very forceful intrusion into our lives, and that's what this graphic novel talks about.
And do you
Please, yes, yeah.
like about graphic novels, have you heard that Kari by Amrita Patil is the single most famous queer graphic novel in Indian English literature? It's set in Mumbai, and interestingly, the bedroom in which the protagonist and her roommate sleep is called Crystal Palace. What is Crystal Palace? Actually, it was where the Great Exhibition of London was held in the Victorian age.
So do look up graphic novels and their novelists. Okay. Next question.
Morning Face is a novel by Mulkraj Anand and was first published in 1968. The book won the Sahitya Academy Award in 1971. The book features Anand's autobiographical narrative that was first used by him in Seven Summers. Remember, Anand is one of the big three Indian novelists. If you can name the other two in the comment box. So, is this true or false?
So you guys will be getting lots of statement-based questions, right? So I just thought of giving it in a different way. So yes, there's statements here. You can see they're absolutely true. And Morning Face is a very important work by this writer Mulk Raj Anand. And he delivers the story here through a personalized telling of the late independence era, politics and history. And Anand himself considered the book to be on the structural lines of Raja Rao's The Serpent and the Rope, but separated by the values espoused. So, Mulk Raj Anand, Raja Rao, R.K. Narayan, they were the big three Indian novelists of this time, and they were obviously influenced by each other's writings. So do look up their novels, obviously in a chronological way, the issues they have dealt with in their writings, okay, and the characters, the settings, all of these are very important. So do look up and read more about these works. Okay, next.
The Scribblers Club was an informal association of authors based in London that came together in the early 18th century. Who among the following was not a part of it? You should be very careful about these different clubs and, the Kit Kat Club, for example, and different societies that would come up in London at various points in time. So is it Jonathan Swift, Thomas Parnell, John Gay, or Joseph Addison? One way to find out the answer is to see which of these authors would differ in ideology or, let's say, perspective from the others. So which is the answer?
Yes. So as we know that at this time in 18th century, there were two clubs, Kit Kat Club and Scribblers Club. Kit Kat Club was for the Whigs, the liberals, and the Scribblers Club was for the Tories or the conservatives, right? So here the answer is obviously Joseph Addison, because he was a liberal. He was a member of the Whig Party. Hence, he was a member of the Kit Kat Club. The other people here, Swift, Parnell, Gay, they were the conservatives. So they supported the Tory party, and hence they were the members of the Scribblers Club. So these two clubs were actually, representing two different political parties of this time, Whigs and Tories, Kit Kat and Scribblers. Clear?
The amazing fact is England still has the two political parties, even though in different names. If you can name the contemporary names of the parties and who is in power now in the comment box.
Okay, so that's all for tonight. I really hope you guys like the questions and the discussions, and it was great to have Roy here with us. I'm sure Roy would like to join another session with us soon.
Absolutely, Ankit, absolutely.
Okay, so do like the video and share this with your friends, and we will see you again soon. Till then, take care, bye, good night, and do have a happy and safe Diwali. Bye, take care, good night.
Happy Diwali.